The beef between Dana White and Francis Ngannou has been reignited again on the social media world, as well as MMA, Twitter, and Instagram alike. As you can see here, Dana White has come out saying a little bit more about Ngannou, and Ngannou also went through and did an interview with Ariel Helwani, not really addressing some of the items on there, doing a lot of like corporate dodging questions and just giving blanket statements that weren't really answering anything. In fact, probably proving his lack of innocence in this case. But Dana's also been known to over-exaggerate things. We can jump right into that. We see ACD MMA. They posted on Twitter earlier. Dana posted an interview of this, but this kind of just sums it up right here. Let me be clear on something when I say the physicality, because Dana previously said that Ngannou talked to him and Hunter Campbell after his fight with Cain Velasquez, in which I think he won by KO or TKO, but Cain had an injury going into that, so it wasn't really performance bonus worthy. He went into his office demanding a performance bonus, and according to Dana initially at a post-fight press conference, when he said no, Ngannou got physical. He even gestured that he was picking him up by the collar, him and Hunter Campbell. Just crazy stuff. Dana's always doing this, exaggerating it, like he did with the Tom Aspinall thing, saying he didn't say that he didn't want to fight. And then you go to the old clip and he says Tom didn't want to continue the fight. It's just pathetic by this Baldy. And we can look in here, yeah. So let me be clear when I say the physicality. It's not like Francis came in here and threatened us or anything like that. That's exactly what you said. But to sum it up at the end of it, he basically says they have their conversation. Dana doesn't agree with him winning the bonus and goes, I'm done. I have another meeting. And he talks about how Ngannou used to walk around the UFC PI for, days on end, eating, just pretty much living there, which the fighters they're not supposed to be living there. They're just supposed to be there for, training, recovery, some meals, and whatnot. But it seems like Ngannou was definitely overstaying his welcome. And then he says, so I started to walk out, and he put his hand on my chest and said, we're not done talking. And I said, oh, we're done talking. So initially Dana said Ngannou picked him up by the collar and verbatim said, get your fucking hands off me, which is just complete bullshit. He's lying. And he backsteps it here like he does with everything. And he says that Ngannou just was a bit physical and put his hand on him, but Dana left. So if that's truly what happened, then it looks bad on Dana for lying, but it still shows that Ngannou is just as aggressive behind the scenes as he kind of said. Maybe not physically picking people up by their collars like a bully, but he's still getting physical, putting hands on chest to stop people from leaving the room, getting what he wants, trying to act like a big bully. He was even telling like UFC staff on how to do things for his cards, like stuff that McGregor, Rousey, and other people haven't even done. Not even Izzy, not Pereira. But yeah, so Francis goes on and gives an interview at Ariel Helwani's show. And Ariel, actually, I think we'll get into this. I'm trying to remember what he says here. He's talking about his PFL contract. So we know that Ngannou left the UFC and went to the PFL, fought Renan Ferreira once, didn't show up again, didn't show up for PFL Africa like he said he was gonna. He said he was gonna do all these things for the fighters. On his cards they get insurance, health insurance, higher pay and whatnot. And he's yet to show up to anything for PFL, and now he seems to be riding out his contract. I think he talks about the John Jones White House fight here now that his contract's about to expire. I'll let them take it away. If it'll load.
Oh, wanting to fight John Jones at the White House. Right?
Did I say that?
He doesn't.
There was some talk about that. You said that would be the biggest fight on Twitter. You had mentioned that.
Yeah, yes, if that could have happened.
Right. What I'm asking is, obviously that would be a huge deal. We know you've always wanted that fight. Would your PFL contract end before that event happens so that it would work out to where you could explore that as an option?
Yes.
Oh my.
So Ariel's reaction says it all. Oh my god. Ngannou with that smirk, little smug on his face, pretending he doesn't know what he's about to say, when he knows in the back of his mind, I got to play this careful. I can play dumb here. They'll think I don't speak perfect English, and I'll get away with what I'm saying. He speaks great English. He knows exactly what his emotions are conveying. He goes, yes. Blatantly admitting, I am burning out my contract to try to renegotiate with the UFC to get more money when he previously left the UFC and went to PFL saying it's not about the money. So just clearly two-faced behavior here by Ngannou. Not defending Dana. I don't like Dana at all. He's terrible for the company. But Ngannou has been also terrible for the company. And so he's basically saying, I'm just not going to fight for PFL. I'm going to wait out my contract and then beg Dana for a White House fight. It's just pathetic by him. And then, the bigger elephant in the room is the actual assault allegations. So I'll let Ariel take it away again.
Did you ever put your hands on him?
On Dana White?
Yeah.
On Dana?
Well, then he must be the only person that I ever put my hand on.
Well, he said you did it with him and Hunter Campbell, where you grabbed his collar.
Mm, in his office, that's what he said, right?
Correct.
Well, I'm sure he has a lot of camera there.
What does that even mean? You're just jumping around the basic question. Like, did you put your hands on him? Who, Dana White? Who the fuck else would we be talking about? Answer the damn question. But he's playing dumb this whole interview. HR teams would probably love this just for him not giving a straight answer. Some people were like MMA Joey, the fat ass, was saying, interview masterclass by Ngannou. He didn't do anything. He didn't spin the question like some political interviewer. He just blatantly went, I don't like, just didn't do anything. And he goes, I'm sure he has a lot of cameras in there. And that pretty much sums up the majority of this clip. Essentially, Ngannou's not going to admit or deny anything because I'm sure Dana has receipts that he has not released, and it would look terrible for Ngannou. So he's playing this I don't know game. I'm not sure. I don't want to say anything. Like, he asked him, did you put your hands on him? He goes, well, that would be the only person I put my hands on. You're an MMA fighter. What the fuck does that mean? You knock people out. What do you mean you don't, like, it's just weird behavior by Ngannou, and I understand he's had some life troubles, the passing of his son, rest in peace. He did have, vehicular manslaughter on that girl with the motorbike incident. So I understand there's an activity there, but he seems to be clearly waiting out his PFL contract. He's trying to get back into the UFC, but Dana's laughing it off, saying he'll never come back to the UFC. I don't work with people that I don't like. But yet he lets John Jones stick around and even potentially come back for the White House, even though he's ruined major nights for the event. Not for the event, for the company, sorry. But yeah, just a weird situation all around. Dana's doing what he does where he just yaps. But Ngannou's not handling this that well, and he's probably just hoping that this all blows over within a week or two, like it all dies down, which I think it will. It has before. But I definitely believe Ngannou got physical with him in there. Maybe not picking him up by the collar, but definitely stopping him, saying, hey, like a firm hand on the shoulder, like a hey buddy type hand on the shoulder. And he's not going to admit to it because if he admits directly to it, he probably looks bad. And if he denies it or tries to downplay it, I'm sure Dana will actually release the footage, or someone at the UFC will leak the footage of the event that happened, and it'll just look bad for Ngannou all around, and that's not good press for him trying to get back into the UFC after what he's been doing to the PFL and just wasting their money. They put all their eggs in one basket with him, and he hasn't fought for over a year, granted the personal troubles, but yeah, just really bad stuff all around. Ngannou hasn't been good for any MMA organization these past few years. He's been very inactive, very entitled despite not doing much. Like, I don't know. There's not much to say. I think everybody's just as frustrated with the situation as I am, how he's handling it. Dana's always funny just to laugh at for saying stupid stuff. I mean, he always goes back on his word, always overplays the things that have happened. But, yeah, just an overall weird situation. As well as Francis Ngannou discussing a Jake Paul boxing match way back when, I think earlier this year. I don't have the clip pulled up on my tabs here, but I vividly remember him saying it just didn't make sense to me. Like, the contract he received didn't make sense. I'm not sure how that doesn't make sense. All of Jake Paul's opponents have made multi-million-dollar paydays. Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley, I'm sure Tommy Fury. All these guys have made good paydays. There isn't some confusing clause of money. Sure, there might be a knockout clause because Jake's a snake like that, but the money will be there for Ngannou, so I have no idea why he wasn't fighting Jake Paul. I think Jake Paul's gotten better, so maybe he could have beat him. He did get knocked out by Joshua, who Paul's fighting next upcoming. I'm excited for that fight. But yeah, just weird performance by Ngannou. This guy's got to get like a manager for his like online persona because he doesn't do it well. He should have gone into this interview prepared, even with like deflection statements. Because I'm totally all for him going to the interview to lie to make himself look better. That's what you do in that situation. If he came out and was like, yeah, I physically threatened a president for more money, that's a terrible look on his career. And I already think he did, so he's not going to sway my view. Just an all-around bad performance by him, media-wise. He needs a manager. Dana's going to be Dana, but I don't see anything foreseeable in the future for Ngannou, especially in the UFC. I think, his boxing career has sailed after that AJ loss. It's crazy what he did with Fury, taking him to a decision that a lot of people thought he won, but still great stuff. Just a weird situation. Yeah, he definitely needs to be media trained, have a PR manager. He doesn't understand damage control for the most part. When everybody's slandering his name, he's just like, well, I don't know. And it's just not a good look. You look stupid. You look like you got caught with your pants down. But yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap up the video here. Thank y'all so much for watching. There's a lot of news going on right now. I plan to drop a few more videos next week just to get us through. We got the final card of the year and the final ESPN card of all time tomorrow. It's Fight Night, of course. Why wouldn't it be? Royval versus Cap. I dropped the predictions for it yesterday, I want to say. But yeah, crazy situation all around. Let me know what you think of Ngannou. If you think he deserves a second chance and he's just being it's been unfair for him. let me know. But if you agree and there's other things I forgot to bring up about Ngannou's character or past incidents, drop a comment. Again, thank y'all so much for the support. My recent video about the UFC commentary and how terrible it has been has blown up. I'm grateful so much for that. I really appreciate that. If y'all could remember to subscribe, that helps me grow the channel. I want to reach as many MMA fans as I can. I love doing content like this, and I'm looking forward to these 5 weeks of what content it'll bring outside of fight predictions and recaps. But yeah, y'all have a good night. See ya.